No, it's our water.
Why do I do not like vodka at all. That's why I drink bourbon. I really like that. Hey guys, it's a rainy day here in New York. We are here at the Hudson House. It was a local distillery to us. We're gonna go through the whole distillery, get a little bit of a tour, have a couple sippers, have a couple pours. Fans love us.
Matt's having a good hair day despite the rain, which he's pretty excited about.
I appreciate that, guys, appreciate it. Yeah, but it's getting chopped tomorrow, so let's get in there.
Hey guys, welcome to Hudson House. Nice to see ya. Nice to see ya. So welcome to Hudson House. This is a grain to glass destination distillery. So the manor is stunning. It was built in the 1850s by Archibald Russell, wealthy businessman from Scotland. This was his private residence for a 400-acre estate. It included all the Cabrini sisters, Christian brothers, and Red Maple Vineyard. So this was the main manor built in 1850. There's also an addition built in 1890. And then finally in 1920, the Christian brothers took over it and added the red structure in the rear, turned into a monastery. So a lot of interesting history to this property. And then in the cellar is our distillery. All right, so now we're gonna go downstairs and try some stuff. So follow me.
So, two things. When we started this project and got open, we were completely undercapitalized, so I couldn't get everything that I needed, right? And because we weren't filling barrels right away, I knew that I had some time. Well, this is a kind of our makeshift brick house until I'm actually gonna be doing some shipping containers, and then we're in the process of finishing up the development and getting the hotel rooms done, and when that happens, we'll drop one or two rick houses on site. But right now, this is what we're aging. So I'll work my way around the room so you can kind of see what's going on. These four barrels right here are corn whiskey, straight up corn whiskey, right?
That's my wheelhouse right there.
This is rice whiskey. We went to Desai Blue, or they came to us and said, hey, we got all this excess rice flour as part of our process. Could you use it? And I said, sure, why not? So we took it and we wanted to try and see what happens. So this is gonna be a rice whiskey. This is also corn. These four barrels here is a collaboration that we did with Angry Orchard. For us, we took 12 totes of old cider, stripped it, distilled it, gave them half so that they could make their pommet. We took the other half and filled 4 barrels for brandy. So we'll have an apple brandy in about two years. The rest are bourbon. These are gonna be rye. These are some new makes that we did at Finger Lakes Distilling before we opened under contract. That we had brought in. Yeah, these are all Mackenzie's. But these are contract stuff. So similar recipes, similar everything, it's fine. But these are new fills. We have a couple more of these up there that we're pulling down. Sure. And then the rest of the rack, we're filling now. So we're starting on the bottom and working our way up to the top. This just got built.
That's impressive.
Week.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
Yeah.
You guys come a long way. I think you were only contracting the first time that I came.
When did you first come?
I mean, I would guess 4 or 5 years ago.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were definitely only contracted because we knew we wanted to open with whiskey, so we got ahead of it that way. And besides, it gave us great relationships with people like Brian, Paul Coughlin over at Taconic. I haven't had great success with Black Button as much as I'd like to try to use their stuff. Yeah. I think it tastes burned. I don't know how else to say it. It comes off burned.
I've had some of the rye that I liked.
The rye's different. Yeah. I was just talking bourbon.
Yeah, I've never had their bourbon, but I did like their rye.
Yeah, their rye's good.
Yeah,
their rye's good.
But I've had very few New York ryes that I didn't really like.
Well, hopefully you'll like ours. All right, so let's start with you want to start at the beginning of the process, or are we going tasting stations?
Let's go to the beginning.
Okay. Yeah, so this is our mash tun, and this is our hammer mill. So everything starts over here. When we're talking about a bourbon recipe or a bourbon run, and we're doing everything in the barrel, it's about 675 pounds of corn. It's 100 pounds of malted barley. Mash tun, yeah. And it's about 200 pounds, I'm sorry, it's about 250 pounds of rye and then 100 pounds of malted barley. So everything gets milled, gets shot up that stainless steel tube into that conical thing called a cyclone, where it kind of sprays the grain all the way down. We fill this with a ton of water, right? And this is where we cook. We cook to a temperature of about 90 degrees Celsius, so that gets us to about 180, 190 Fahrenheit. At that point, we cut the heat, because we've hit that point where we've broken down the proteins, and now we're getting into, starch land and converting all of that starch into sugar. Once we drop down to about 50, we then add more enzymes, let it sit for a minute, and then we drop it down even further. So that ferment tank both behind you, where it says 618 cook, that was the cook we did today. And that'll get its yeast tomorrow once it's chilled. The ferment jacket, the cooling jacket on that fermenter is on to drop it down to a temperature of about 70 degrees. Yeah. So tomorrow I should be able to pitch that yeast. So once we're done with our cook, pump everything over here, ferment, depending on what we're doing, anywhere between 10 to 14 days. And then we're ready to kind of strip and wrap.
Do you need to do anything special with the water? I kind of get, no
So
matter where I go, I kind of get different answers.
So we're unique. We're well and septic, but gas and electric for Central Hudson. Our well's about 650 feet deep. I think when we had it originally tested, it came out with a pH balance of 7.4, something like that, like right in the sweet spot. But the problem with water on this side that comes from the ground, especially in Ulster County on the river, tons of sulfur because it's old water, it's old. So we treat it for public water use upstairs, but down here we don't want anything in our water. So what we do is we call it harvesting water. We take water off of the cooling loop from the still when it's hot. It burns out all the sulfur, and then we fill that tote right there, and that's our proofing water. So that's the water that we use, which has no chemicals whatsoever. And that's exactly what we're going for. Yeah. We do a lot of extra steps just because we're trying to keep it kind of like consistent and everything else. So that's our proofing water. Pot still, 2-column rectification, condenser.
You got it all covered.
Well, I don't have a grain separator, so I have to strip and wreck. Now, even if I had a grain separator, I would still have to strip, but the strip would be a lot easier because I don't have any grains to worry about, right? So when we're done with ferment, we pump it, still hot. When we're done with ferment, we pump everything over here. This is 500 gallons, 2,000 liters. You can tell up top, it's still sitting at around 80 degrees Celsius. That's left over from the run. This is the engine that drives everything that way. Now, when we strip off of a ferment, off of that beer wash that we have in here now, the whole idea is that we want to just get it off that solid, right, for that first run. So we don't want to rectify it too much. We just want to push it kind of through fast. When we get into the rectification of the spirit, which is the spirit run, which is the second run, that's when we really have to pay attention. Now, once we're done with the first strip, we produce what's called low wines, right? All of our low wines go in here. We'll take 4 low wines, and just because of our size and how much we have, we tend to go month by month. So right now I'm in bourbon. Next month I'm in neutral spirit for vodka. The next month after that I should be in, I'll have a rye going in between, but I should be in rye production. So just coinciding with the farmer schedule. Because
have you played around with single malt at all, or?
So not yet, but I will. I have been getting a lot of old beer from people like Hudson Valley brewers and a couple of the other people. So we're playing around with it, but we'll get there. I think we will. My distiller used to be at Current Spirits, which was a part of Captain Lawrence in Westchester. And so all throughout COVID, that's all he did was make single malt. So I'm kind of giving him a break from it. Like he can't stand to see another keg or anything like that. So I'm kind of giving him a break for that, but we'll get into it eventually. When we're working with a whiskey, we don't need to rectify it too much because the barrel aging process will rectify the spirit, gets rid of all of that bad stuff, right? So we're only going to engage one of our columns, and I'll explain the columns in a second, and then we'll push it out here into low wines. Did this get transferred yet? Nope, this is today's run for low wines. So this is new make bourbon, or will be new make bourbon. This is just low wines. This is just the strip.
Smell that, man.
You don't need to get that close.
Taste it.
Tastes like corn.
Taste it. Taste it. Just tastes just like corn whiskey. Probably about 145, I'd say, somewhere around there, maybe 155, 160.
Oh, it's not crazy harsh.
I'd take a glass of it.
Yeah. All right, so when we're working, and then this goes in there, and then we'll do the rectification. Now, when we're working with a run that's just going to be rectified for neutral spirit, that's when we have to use these columns. That's when we really have to kind of go through it. So the way the columns work is this: is that vapor is going to enter into that second chamber over there. Inside each of those glass portals is what's called a bubble plate, which has perforations that we can control from these levers in the back, open or close. When we are stripping, we keep everything open, no resistance, right? We want to get it out as fast as possible. However, when we're doing the rectification, we need as much resistance as possible, so we close everything down. Because every single time that hot vapor hits the cold copper, it will reflux and condense back into a liquid. And that's what you see in an operating still, those dancing bubbles. You know, that's what's going on. It's called reflux. At the top of each of these two columns is what we call a deflator, another condenser, where we're just pushing cold water, right, from our chiller. We want to get as much cold water in it as possible, so we can control the temperature at the top. Now, our two columns, now if we had a continuous column, it's essentially one of these on top of the other. But because our two columns are run in series and not parallel, it repeats the process over here, which is how we can get to a proof of about 191, 192 sometimes on our neutral spirit. We go really slow. It takes a lot of time. It takes about 36 to 40 hours on four low lines in there. And we'll get out about 180 gallons at 191.4, 191.5 on average. And then we pump it over there, and that's our neutral spirit for vodka. Or gin, which will be ready as soon as we're done proofing and can figure out what we're gonna call it. Okay, so you know, it's funny, when Bree told me about this, and she said, we'll talk about why you started the distillery. This is my midlife crisis. I mean, I'll be honest with you. This is what you're witnessing here is somebody's midlife crisis. I owned and operated venues in the city. And one day I decided I wanted to own my own brands. And so when I met Charles, we were kind of aligned in that, and we just decided to go that route. And at the time, what I was doing in the city, there's so much parity to it anyway. I was just like, I'm over it. I want something new, and I was getting,
Yeah, I mean, you got this great little distillery down here. I mean, the architecture is great. I've had the food. I've sat
Great
up there.
chef,
There's nowhere else in the Hudson Valley that you can sit. I mean, I've sat on many a fall afternoon. I just sat there and had it.
That's why we built it. We want everybody to enjoy our passion, which is what this is. This is a passion. I don't think you can go into this business without that love, because it is a grind. I mean, I would equate this to a restaurant. Simple as that. I mean, it's a grind. Your profit margins are good. You have to keep an eye on all of the little details. Your profit margins are bigger than a restaurant, but you got to get out there and sell. You have to get out there and sell. If Bree isn't at a tasting at a liquor store, she's at an event somewhere. And same with Charles, and now same with Justin. We have 3 people now going out doing tastings and events, because we have to go out and make our own magic. We really do. So this tank is Jack.
Guys, I don't like vodka.
Delicious. This tank is Jack. So we'll drop the temperature of this tank to about 35 degrees. It's not on now. But we'll drop the temperature to about 35 degrees while we're proofing it. And the reason is it tends to settle all of that hot alcohol, right? With our vodka, we tend to slow proof. So if I'm doing, let's say, a 175 gallon batch of neutral, I'm gonna add about somewhere around 180 gallons of water, 190 gallons of water to get down to 80.
That might start as high as like 190 proof?
It's gonna start at 191.2, and I gotta get down to 80. So I'm gonna add about 190, 195 gallons of water. So a ton, or a lot. We're doing it by bucket, right? And it's that cooked water, right? And then we blend it in here every single day. So it takes about 2 weeks to proof it down. And that's what you're getting. You're getting a vodka that people actually care about, as opposed to dump the water in, let it get to proof, bottle it, and off you go, which is what most vodkas do.
It's got something to it. Yeah, it's not just odorless, tasteless. It's
got a little bit of, it's got a hint of everything.
A little bit, but in a good way.
Yes,
yeah, it's nice.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So this is our bottling. This is our bottling area. We bottle from this tank over here. We have a 4-head filler over there, where we do it all by hand. We add our tamper-proof strip on top here, and then we send everything down here where it will install a cap. It will heat the cap, and then this is the finished product, a new bottle of bourbon. That's actually not a good one. Let me get you a good one. It's not a bar bottle. This is a good one. Yeah, and so this is how we number everything. So tomorrow morning, when I'm done with the cook, I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna start numbering all these bottles.
So definitely like and subscribe, guys. Follow, give us a comment, caption, whatever you need. But shout out to Hudson House. Bree and Paul, thank you guys so much. You guys were absolutely amazing. Definitely come down here, give it a look, guys. It's awesome.
All right, we're gonna go have one more drink up at the bar where it's nice and cool. So.
Yeah.